Health is life. Your health matters. You matter. Health begins in the spirit and the mind. Take time to love you. Live well. Be well.
Let's go!
Health matters to me.
Come on, get up, cause you tuned into the station for your morning motivation to get your education for your health and your spiritual needs.
Health matters to me.
Yeah, strong will to empower the people, to promote the peace, though. Positive attitudes, baby, that's a lifelong dream goal.
Health matters to me.
Yeah, health matters and we're here to help you become a better you, to be the best version you can be.
Health matters to me.
Yeah, and it's time for this classic, fantastic food for your soul. Here's Jackie and Coach Patrick right here. Let's go.
Health matters to me.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Help Matter Live Podcast, where your help matters. I am Jackie.
And Coach Patrick.
Guys, join us every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. as we bring you relevant information that pertains to your health and well-being.
That's right. We'll have healthcare professionals and other professionals on the show to assist us in helping you to be the best you that you can be as it pertains to your health and your well-being.
And guys, you already know what to do. Head over to Facebook and like Get Fit with Jackie Fitness and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Help Matters with Jackie and Coach.
Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
All right, guys. We are of course, we was in a new year. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed last week podcast. We talked about refocus to resolve. So many years we want to just do resolutions, but we find ourselves doing the same resolution every year. But it's time to refocus and resolve those resolutions and make sustainable, healthier habits in your life. So guys, you know what time it is. You know, we're going to clean the house first, but after that, we're going to bring our very own Dr. Dan Jolie from Aiken Chiropractic, the sponsor of Help Matters, as well as Mariah, a special doctor guest here. God, we're going to have a wonderful conversation. So we want you guys to tune in right after our cleanup.
Most definitely. And listen, we want to just wish everyone that's celebrating birthdays and anniversaries for this great month of January. Jack and I celebrated our 41st anniversary. Loving it. We're still celebrating. And like I say, happy birthday to anyone that's celebrating a birthday. Our pastor, my sister, Brenda. Who else is celebrating a birthday this month, Jackie? Deborah McDaniel. So happy birthday to everybody that's celebrating the birthday, and happy anniversaries to all those that are celebrating anniversaries. We wish you a happy birthday and a happy anniversary. Let us acknowledge our sponsors, our partners, our friend, Aiken Chiropractic. Dr. Dan, when your spine is aligned, your body is too. Aiken Chiropractic is located on 425 Lawrence Street, Northwest in Aiken, South Carolina. Their number is 803-641-9191, and their website is www.aikenchiropractic.com. If you would like to be a sponsor, partner, or friend of the show, you can call 706-592-8862. We would love for you to help us do what we do on a weekly basis.
All right, guys. So we're going to bring in our guests, our Dr. Dan, and his special guest, Mariah. So, yes, Mariah, I pronounced that correctly. Good morning. So good to have you back.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
Guys, listen, we had so many just reviews and
comments and
just people with your story and you know, talking about it, and we replayed it during the holidays, and they enjoyed it so much, and
Very
so
good.
we replayed it during the holidays when we wasn't on live. So you got a lot of plays on that. So we thank you so much, and we are happy to have you back on here. And so, and we also want to acknowledge the people in California and pray for them and their families and loved ones, and they still don't have this thing under control.
Yeah, a lot going on.
No.
Yes.
Well, so we're going to talk about chiropractic care today, Dr. Dan. So you and Dr. Glenn, you guys just take off and let's go. Let's get into it.
Well, I was just going to say, I wish everybody Happy New Year. I hope we have a really great year, and it develops, in a good, positive way. There's some, bad things on the news and all that, but I, wish everybody the best, and hopefully we overcome all that because we are strong and our country is, full of really good people, and hopefully everybody will come together, overcome all these horrible things. But
Yes.
let's just do our jobs. Let's do what we're supposed to do and help people. And hopefully, if everybody does their job, everybody will be fine. We're all going to do just fine. And
Right.
I had a lot of fun with Mariah here last time as well. So I invited her to come back again.
Yes.
And we worked for over 12 years together in our office in Florida. So she has a lot of experience dealing with chiropractic clinic and how to run it. And I wanted to have her kind of focus a little bit on today, on something that I think is really important. Sometimes people need care, and maybe they are kind of embarrassed to look for it, or they don't think they should have it, or maybe they feel like they're overstepping. And I wanted her to mention that. She even had a little experience from talking to somebody just recently about it. So I'm going to have her kind of talk a little bit about that and why things happen to you, they are bad, and you have some possibility of getting better and having some care, why you should do it, why you shouldn't just ignore it and get worse over time. So she can tell you a lot because she ran the office and she dealt with so many people.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Sure did.
All right.
Awesome.
I like to call it the quid pro quo, the tit for tad,
Yeah.
dollar for dollar. Um,
You do something for me, I'll do something for you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not just, me personally or the clinic personally. We're talking about transactional relationships across the board.
Right.
And people are just not very um, at ease talking about those things because we're preconditioned to, oh,
Mm,
do you really need it? Do you really? I mean, what kind of a person are you? I mean, you didn't break a leg. Why do you need to go see a chiropractor? Never mind the fact that you could have herniated disc or that you could have all kinds of other different injuries from an accident. You do not have to have broken bones and be in a full body cast.
Right.
right.
So people will many times, unfortunately, be preconditioned by society to tough it out. And
Mm,
I want to know why.
Hmm.
yeah.
I really I want to know why. It is not like you're begging. It
Right.
is not something that you haven't prepaid for already, whether
Hmm.
it be health insurance or car insurance.
Right.
You have funds available that you have prepaid. Okay. Um, what 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 stops people from actually seeking care? Society
Hmm.
and the fact that we have been preconditioned not to.
Yeah.
I talked to a gentleman today. I still get calls from Florida, and especially people in my community, our community back there, which is from ex-Yugoslavia, which that's a minority community as well. And nobody takes the time out to explain to anybody, whether you speak fluent English or no English at all, what you should or shouldn't be doing or what you can do. And so I talked to this gentleman who did not understand Florida law. And so I explained that to him.
And he was in a car
He
accident, right?
was in a car
Yeah.
accident,
So he's
not
a
his
potential
fault.
patient, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Not his fault. And in Florida, we have something called no fault, where everybody has to go through their own insurance first, excuse me, um, when they seek medical care for the first $10,000. And after that is the bodily injury and uninsured or underinsured motorists, whichever way. But the first $10,000 comes from their own policy. Well, trust me when I tell you, if I had a penny for every time I heard, but I'm not at fault, why do I have to pay? Um, and so people are very hesitant. They don't understand the laws. They don't understand. And again, that's regardless if that's a marginalized community or somebody who was born and raised in America. I pretty much answer across the board to everybody because nobody understands it. But everybody seems to be somehow have picked up a bad habit of saying, oh, I'm not that kind of a person. And I want to know, what kind of a person are you? Did
Mhm.
you ask to be injured? Did you ask to be rear-ended? Did you ask to take time out of your busy day to look for a car shop, to, uh, you know, look for a car while yours is in the shop? Did you ask for any of that? In addition to that, you are in pain. Did you ask for any of that? No.
Mhm.
Okay. What seems to be the issue? All the funds are there to indemnify you, meaning to put you back to where you,
Baby.
how you started out.
Right.
Okay. And it's like pulling teeth. But once they get it, they understand that there's no shame in it. They have prepaid these services. For these services, they have prepaid. And that's the biggest thing. They think like they're begging for something, or they're being bad people because, ooh, goodness, now
Mhm.
I have to go see a chiropractor and an attorney. It's
Mhm.
like you're on a blacklist.
Right. And like
Wow.
you say, if you have the insurance in place, then you've paid for these services.
Services. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
why not take advantage of them?
Absolutely. And the shame with it, it's like there is no shame in it.
Right.
Mhm.
It is.
Absolutely not. When you run out of money, you go to the ATM. Are you ashamed to get your own money? No, you're not.
Absolutely.
You
But
know,
you
that's
said it, Dr. Mariah.
uh,
It's the mind is pre-conditioned.
Conditioned.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
just take a minute to
Yeah. Yeah.
rewire that brain
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
create more healthier neural pathways to
Yeah.
understand,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I feel you. I
Yeah.
understand on the fitness and the health and wellness. I
and
feel
with an accident, you just never know. Like you say, just because you
You
don't
don't.
have a broken bone or something
Yeah.
fractured or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
doesn't mean that there could still be something
You
going.
know, I can tell you from my own personal experience. In the year 2008, I was rear-ended at 45 miles an hour. And there was this little old man behind me who just didn't realize that everybody stopped, including me, but for somebody way in the front. And there was let's just say, a little seedy kind of environment. So he was looking over there. Okay. It was an adult store. So he was looking over there and he didn't realize that everybody had stopped. Well, he hit me, and it was a pretty hard hit. My initial pain right there was my low back. Oh,
Mm,
I thought my low back is just gone, not even out of alignment, just gone.
mm,
It was horrible. For the first 3 months after the accident, I dealt with low back pain. And I was
Hmm.
seen by an awesome, first of all, my chiro, and then, um, my ortho, and received a radio frequency ablation, which really, really helped me. I thought, oh my God, what a miracle Band-Aid, because it's not a healing environment for my herniated disc. It's like the radio frequency ablation is like a super Band-Aid. I was 95% pain
Hmm.
free. So I'm like, I don't care what it is, I want it.
mhm,
mm,
So one Sunday morning, it was maybe 2, 3 weeks after I had my radio frequency ablation. I'm sitting with my husband on deck, and we're drinking coffee, and I'm reading a news, and he says, "Stop, you're scaring me." I'm like, "What are you talking about? First time you see me without makeup?" Like, what? I'm not scaring you. I didn't realize that my face was
mhm.
twitching.
Wow.
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 I didn't feel it, didn't know it. And so he brought me a mirror and I could see, and I was scared out of my mind.
Wow.
So the next morning, Monday morning, I go to my primary and I said, something is happening with me. And it was coming and going. I said,
Mm,
something is happening. And I said to him, and I feel like there's like air coming on this side of my head.
Hmm.
It feels like air. And he goes, oh, no, no, no. So we did an MRI. So what we found was a hole in my head.
mm,
Mm,
How do you have a hole in your head? Well, that morning when I was rear-ended, I have very heavy hair and it was down to my waist. I washed it, I put it up in a bun, and I took a metal comb and pinned it under so it would stay.
mm,
Well, that metal comb actually did the injury.
mm.
When I went forward and back, it just went through the most tender part of the skull, right back here. And it went through my skull. And I said,
Wow.
how on earth does anybody walk around for 3 months and doesn't know have a hole in their head? Okay. And we were able to piece it back together that's exactly what happened to me.
Wow.
So, and I tell this story to everybody as a cautionary tale. Don't be the doctor. I'm not a doctor. I run a clinic like no other, but I'm not a doctor. That's a doctor.
Mhm.
You know, but it's like I tell people, don't be the doctor because you're not the doctor.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not going to run the defense department because I have no idea how to do that. You know,
Mhm.
leave it to those who know how to help you. Just know that you
Right.
can and you should take advantage of things that you have prepaid for. Because these people who take your money that you have prepaid, they don't even send you a Christmas card saying, thank you for the money that you never used.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I
Yeah.
mean, and as we see with insurance, as we see with insurance, that could be really sticky and tricky. You know, you see
Right.
even now with what's going on in the world,
Oh
they're
Right.
yeah.
denying people, insurance, and they don't want to pay
Mhm.
insurance. And
Mhm.
just right with us, we went through that hurricane, so we know how
Mhm.
insurance treated some people. So yeah,
Mhm.
if you've been paying out your pocket for that stuff, then
Mhm.
get your services that you need. There's no stigmas associated with that, is it? I
Shouldn't
mean,
be.
not that I
Shouldn't
know
be.
of.
Yeah.
So, I
Shouldn't
don't know
be.
why.
And that's your money. It's your money.
That's
And they
not
want
it.
to control and dictate
Yes, ma'am.
how you should get. I'm like, how do they
Mhm.
control what's yours? You giving them something every month. And now
Right.
Yeah.
you decided not to renew our policy or
Mhm.
keep a policy because we that's a high risk or this
Mhm.
happening again. So it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
wrong.
very wrong, but people don't question it.
Hmm.
That's right.
And they just
Yeah.
take it at face value.
Mhm.
And because again, it's kind of like you're begging for something that you may or may not be entitled to and not understanding.
Hmm.
So, with all my passion, I want to make sure whoever I talk to, for them to have a full understanding of their rights and their
Hmm.
entitlements. Okay.
Right.
Uh, I'm not speaking about anything that I don't know. Insurance, I know. The entitlement and insurance, I know. And people's needs, I know. And they have to meet. And there shouldn't be a stigma, but there is. People say, oh, I'm not that kind of a person. I mean, oh, for God's sake, people are going to look at me like I'm with one of those ambulance chases in Florida. That's a
Mhm.
big thing.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I'm glad I didn't think that way when I went to my doctor with a hole in my head.
Right.
I
You
know
So
that's
know,
if someone does, have that accident, who
mhm.
should they reach out to? A chiropractic or just talk straight to the insurance
Yeah,
company?
no, never speak to the insurance company.
Right.
That's
yes,
one
remember
thing
a
that
lawyer.
I will say, and I say this because I used to be an insurance company. I was a regional claims director for an auto insurance company. So I know exactly what it is that they're doing in their initial recorded statement because they all want to record a statement. No, 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 no. You better have, you can, if you're in Aiken, South Carolina, you better call us.
Hmm.
We get you squared away. We'll tell you which way to go, what you should do. In what you do at the end is entirely up to
Yeah.
you. We never say, oh, go here, go there. We will give you recommendations and
Right.
let you know these are your rights and
Yeah.
go, protect yourself.
Yeah. In theory, though, I think what's important is what she was saying. When you speak to insurance company, they'll record everything you say. That can be used against you.
Yeah.
You're better off if bad things happen. You get in some kind of a car accident. You should contact the attorney. You should get an attorney. If you don't know a good one, if you call us, we can recommend somebody. I mean, I've been working here with 21 years, and I know good people, and so let's make sure you get taken care of. But you got to have somebody represent you. The insurance companies have really expensive attorneys. You got nobody. So, somebody needs to protect your rights.
Right.
A few years ago, when I had my office in Grovetown, which I sold, but I had an office for a little bit of time. And there was a lady one time, she was referred to me for treatment by a certain attorney. I forget who that was anymore, but he was from Augusta. And so the lady comes in and she was rear-ended just like Mariah and all that. And
Mm.
so, everything seems like what I normally do. So I did my exam on her. I started treating her and I did it for about 2 weeks. And she was actually starting to feel better. And then her attorney office sent me a letter. And the letter said, just to, we have to tell you, we don't represent her anymore. And just so you
Oh,
know, she's not a client anymore. So, and I'm like, how? So usually attorneys drop a client when there is no case. But,
Wow.
this sounded like a normal case. And I normally don't call the attorneys, but that time I was a little bit surprised because when I spoke to this lady, it all sounded like a normal, legit case. Like number one type of accident is when you stop at the light
mhm.
and somebody behind you rear ends you. They don't pay attention. So I always look at my rear view mirror. I don't stop abruptly. I have to kind of, I watch who's behind me, make sure they're paying attention. I slow
Right.
down gently. I even pump the brakes a couple of times so they kind of flash back there. I know because I see what happens. So that's what happened to her. She stopped at the light. Somebody behind her didn't pay attention and ran into her. I mean, that sounds like a normal accident. So why would they drop her? So I called the attorney, and the attorney in her case answered the phone call, and it was very nice. And I said, I never called you about this stuff before, but I'm just curious. Like, this sounds like a normal kind of stuff I see all day long. How come you guys dropped her? How come there's no case or whatever? And the attorney told me this. The attorney said, we thought just like you, everything looked normal. So we signed her up. She called us to represent her, and we sent her out for treatments because she was hurting and all that. We did what we are supposed to do initially. And then we contacted her insurance company to let them know that we represent her from now on. And the insurance company said, "Oh, no, no, no. She already settled the case, like settled her case."
Yeah.
And they're like, "How can she settle the case? She just hired us,
Yeah.
and the accident only happened a few days ago. I mean, how could that happen?" And they played they recorded her on the phone.
Mm.
So they spoke to her while she was, at the accident site, and she was, upset. She was, her adrenaline was really up.
Of course.
What's
Yeah.
going to happen? Yeah, she was upset. She's like, what's going to happen with my car? Who's going to pay for towing of the car?
Mm.
All that stuff. And they got her, basically, they told her, okay, we'll give you a little bit of money, and that's it. And she misunderstood. The patient thought the little bit of money they offered was like about $200. She thought that was for the towing the car. That's what she thought it was for.
Wow.
No, the insurance company meant for the whole case.
Settlement,
And
the
then,
whole
yeah,
settlement. Wow.
it was like an entrapment kind. And
My goodness.
she wasn't really in a clear mind. And they asked her, would you accept $300 as like a total payment or something? And clear as a bell, she said yes, because she didn't understand what she was saying. And
Mm.
so, they told the attorney there's no case. She already settled it for $300.
Wow.
That was horrible. Okay, imagine not gonna pay for your car, not gonna pay for your, if she went to emergency room and hospital bills. Of course, my bill, but I mean, I didn't treat her that much yet, and that kind of stuff. So unbelievable. So when I saw so I understood that when the attorney explained it to me. So there's nothing we can do. We can try to argue that she wasn't in her right mind, but that's really difficult argument to make because it recorded her. And
Wow.
so he said, I really, it's a lost cause for us. I really can't help her. That's horrible. But that's why you don't talk to insurance company, because they record everything and they can use that against you. That's really what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not fair. It is not fair at all, and that lady should have been treated more. But she's not going to get the treatment. And how is that fair? How is that okay?
That's
It's
Just
not
to
not
make
fair.
a,
fair at
make a
all.
buck.
And they get away with it. They
Yeah.
get away
Yeah.
with it.
Away with it.
So that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about, abusing the system or,
God, no.
going for some crazy treatments. We're talking about, hey, do what you're supposed to get. If you, I see a lot of patients, and, for the personal injury patients, I always order an MRI. I never order it without the attorney's approval. Whatever I do, I always ask the attorney's office and say, hey, this is what I feel feel like I need to do? Do you approve this? Because I don't know anything to do with the case. I don't know anything about the value of the case or the money in the case or how they're going to pay for that. So you always check with the attorney. And 99% of the time, the attorney is fine with that because that's a normal thing to do. Getting an MRI for the injured area is considered standard of care. In other words, if I didn't do it, if the patient has neck pain or back pain, and I don't do any kind of diagnostic studies on that, I'm giving them substandard care, right? I'm not giving them the proper care. So, that's the same. So I take my own x-rays. We have digital x-rays, but x-rays only show the bones. And just like Mariah said, we don't really deal in my office with people that have broken bones. I mean, if they have that, they're going to end up in a hospital. But there's so many more injuries that you don't have broken bones.
Right.
And so, for the soft tissue, I have to do an MRI. I cannot see the discs. I cannot see the nerves or the tendons or any of that stuff on the x-rays, just the bones. So, that's important. But these are all like pieces in the puzzle. So I ordered the MRI. MRI comes back, and I would tell you right now, majority of those patients, vast majority, I would say more like 29 out of 30, not 9 out of 10, more than that. They always end up having some kind of herniated disc. And you can probably confirm that in Florida because they find hernia discs all the time. And the medical doctors, they read those MRIs, they never meet the patient. They're just from the MRI center. They just look at the films. So it's completely separate. There's no subjective thing here. It's completely objective. They're never going to see the patient in person. They just see the films. They can tell if it's an old injury or something that was more recent. They can tell. And then they give a statement on the report to the effect saying that it's a medical probability that this was caused by some recent, injury and blah, blah, blah. That's how they say it. So I know this is not something they had 10 years ago and it's just got worse. This is something new. Well, unless they had another accident they didn't tell me about, it has to be related to the one they came for. So that's how we know. But people have hernia discs that need to be treated. I do not treat hernia discs. I have to send them to a specialist. So I work with specialists like medical specialists, like orthopedic doctors or what have you, because that's who needs to do that. So we work as a team. We have to be as a team to help a patient. So typically they can go to the emergency room initially and then do some, unless it's like life threatening, they're just going to give them some medication and send them out. That's kind of what they do. And so that's not enough. You have to treat, you have to actually, heal the area because if you don't, it can become a chronic issue and you're going to have problems, for years afterwards. That's why it's so important to treat this stuff right away and take it seriously. Yeah. And if it's not a big problem, they don't need a lot of treatments, they can be done really quickly. But if it is, let's do it properly. So, things are healed properly.
In Florida, I had a 16-year-old who was hit hard and had 4 herniations,
Yeah.
2 in the neck and 2 in the low back. Then
Yeah.
I had another 16-year-old who was hit even harder than him and had nothing, which is
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
Wow.
but you
That's like
don't
you say, you
know.
just never know. You just never know with the
You
force
never know.
and the impact
And,
of an
and that,
accident like that.
Yeah.
right, that's when I'm very passionate about the fact that you should take advantage of your rights.
Yes.
You should take advantage of your rights and let nobody tell you that you shouldn't, or I wouldn't do that if I was you. You're not me.
Right.
It is my body. It
Right.
is my entitlements, my care that I have prepaid for. And, like Dr. Dan said, nobody's saying, oh, go out there and claim things that you
Right.
shouldn't. Absolutely not. When I was in the insurance industry, I actually was a manager for a special investigation unit, busting clinics who were notorious for doing that. That's a no-no. That's a
Yeah.
no-no. But
Yeah.
just to throw everybody in the same pot and say, oh, you're one of them because you're making a claim. No, absolutely not. You need to know what your rights are. And we're here to help. We're
Yeah.
here to put a little bit of light
Yeah.
on that.
We
And
base
that's
everything on objective data. Like we could not, and I tell patients, I said, when you say you're hurting, that's really subjective. It's hard to measure subjective stuff. We have some forms they fill in, but I don't really put too much. I listen to them, but I need to see objective data. So when I do X-rays, I look at bones out of place. I look at stuff that's misaligned, and I can tell, hey, if there's an opening between the bones that's supposed to be like this big, and it's like this big, I know there's not enough room for the nerve to exit, and that's going to pinch the nerve. But they, they kind of goes like I said, pieces in the puzzle. Everything fits together. So they can't really lie. I mean, they have to, exaggerate like crazy. So you would know if it's proper. And I'm not gonna put my license on the line for anybody. So I want to do the proper job. Same thing with MRIs. I mean, that is objective test. I cannot diagnose herniated disc without an MRI. I have to look at it. And I only work with other medical clinics where they also need objective data in order to do what they do. So if there's a herniated disc that's compressing on the nerve or the spinal cord, sometimes you need those injections to make it better. Well, they can't do it without the MRI. Last year, I had a patient that was in a car accident who was a veteran, and he was in the Gulf War. And some time ago, he was injured. He had shrapnel in his body, so he's got little pieces of metal they cannot ever take out. So he lives with that. And I couldn't do an MRI on it because you cannot get an MRI with metal stuff in your body. I mean, that's a big magnet. He can, pull that stuff right out and kill him. So you can't do that. So I couldn't do an MRI on the guy. And he asked me, he says, can I still refer him to orthopedic? He had some injections in the VA before, made him feel better. Maybe he can get it again. I actually called 3 different orthopedic groups and I asked them, hey, this is the case. Can you guys do something for this guy? And they all said the same thing. I'm sorry, we can't without the MRI. We have to have an MRI in order to see where the disc is protruded, if it's pressing on the nerve or whatever, then we can do the injection for that reason. But otherwise, we just can't do it.
That is so horrible.
And I told the guy, I said, I wish I could send you somewhere, but the real stuff they do, they really need an MRI. They really don't know where the nerve is, being compressed.
Yeah.
And it makes sense when you think that way, So you can't just make stuff up. You have to do it properly, and you got to do it the right way. But there's a way to do things.
But I also want to point out something very important. People say, "Oh my God, I had an accident 10 years ago. I had a herniated disc." I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if when you're in an accident again, it's an old injury. Okay, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. I want to see one person walking who doesn't have a pre-existing something.
Yes.
Okay? We're people.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, everybody has something. But if, say, for instance, you had an injury 10 years ago, and for the last 5 years, you've been fine. You have learned to cope with your your injury, and you're basically pain-free walking through the day, and you re-injure the same. Well, it's just like a new injury because you were asymptomatic. You didn't have symptoms. You were just living your normal life, even though you had that herniated disc 10 years ago and it never healed. It will never go away. But your body has adapted. And now all of a sudden you re-injure the same one. It is not something that you just say, "Oh my God, this is just the old stuff." No,
It's new.
it's new.
A new injury.
It's
Re-injured
new.
it. Right.
It's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be new symptoms.
Yeah.
There'll be new stuff. And I tell people, well, if you had past injury and right before this accident that just happened to you, did you go to any treatments, active treatments at that time? She says, no, I was fine. I was not doing anything.
Right.
And now you hurt again. Oh yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, it was dormant, it was stable, and your body was living with it. Now you got a new injury, it caused new stuff, and you can still treat. The most complicated case that I have, and this happens once in a while, I can actually have a patient that's coming for under active care. They're coming right now for treatment that for the accident that just happened, like I don't know, 3 weeks ago, whatever. And while they're coming for my care, they get in the second accident. And that happens sometimes. So people freak out. What do I do? Like, I got another accident. Well, what we typically do at that point, depending on how bad the new accident is, if it really bothers them again, or if it's just a minor one, well, if it's not a big one, if it doesn't really have any new symptoms, we'll just continue treating with the first one. But if the new one's pretty significant, I would at that point when they tell me they had a second accident, I would immediately stop the treatment for the first accident, close down that file, do my file exam and all that, and then I will start a new file and see if there's any new symptoms from that accident. So you got to keep it separate. You can't get treated, for two different things at the same time. So you got to separate it out. So we do that. It's a little complicated, but it's doable. I mean, that happens. Life happens. It's not the end of the world. So you got to treat them. You got to do the best you can. But that's not common, but it does happen. It does happen. But the basic thing of this is, when people get injured in a car accident, even if it's a small accident, it can cause some pretty serious damage. We don't need a lot. If you were just to stand still and somebody comes from behind you and you don't know they're going to do that and they kind of want to prank you and they just kind of come behind you and push you real fast, they jerk you. Yeah. That alone, just that little jerky motion can herniate the disc in your neck. Just that. Because you did not know it was going to happen, and your muscles in your neck, your deep muscles in your spine are not going to resist that motion. And now think about what happens in the car accident. If you're sitting in the car and the car that's like, I don't know how many, 3,000 pounds or whatever, slams in the back of you and pushes you forward. That's a lot more jerkiness than somebody just pushing you with their hands. So all of that. So my suggestion to everybody would be, regardless of symptoms, get checked. Get checked. That's the least you should do.
For
Get
yourself.
checked.
For yourself.
Yeah.
If there is
Some great
nothing,
information.
Yeah.
if there is nothing, great. Congratulations. You were lucky.
Yeah.
Yes,
Why
yes.
would they check?
Wonderful. But if there is something, you have to think about also ramifications down the road. We all know insurance is a very complex field.
Yeah.
I have had in Florida people who were not listening to me. It would be like a mother and a daughter. And the daughter would have, make a claim because she had pain. Mom did too, but she's like, oh no, I'll tough it out. And then later on, she needed care, and she was on Medicare, and Medicare told her, well, why didn't you get money when you could? Why do you want money from us? You should have gotten money when you had a chance.
Wow.
The accident.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, I'm like Mariah. That makes me so angry. I'm so passionate about
How very.
And we should,
doing,
I know we're kind of
doing the
running out
right
of time,
thing.
but next time we should talk a little bit about money, because I want to point
Yeah.
out that money works in South Carolina in our cases, because she mentioned, Florida and how they have, $10,000. We don't do that here. That's totally different. And we're running out of time for this, but I would mention that a little bit so people understand there's nothing to worry about. That's also covered here, but it's different here. It's not the same as Florida. So I want to, play that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
But the thing is, a settlement is a settlement, and the insurance company is going to look for any kind of subrogation. And when you have a case, when you have any government assistance, it's a wrong word, government program that you are on, they want to be reimbursed for anything you pay.
Absolutely.
Anything they pay. So, if they know that you were in an accident and that you reported injuries but didn't treat, and all of a sudden 2 years later you coming back with things that most likely are related to the accident, many of them will ask questions and say, why didn't you get the money?
Yes.
Now we have to do the money.
And they may not pay your claim. They might say, we don't pay for that.
Yeah.
And that is
It's not
true.
even their money.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
true.
even. Oh my goodness.
Money,
Amazing.
money is not the root of all evil.
It's,
If appropriated correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like money is just like marriage. If you don't know how to deal with it, you most likely gonna have a few issues. So money is not.
this has
Money
been a
is
great
not-
conversation.
Yeah, this has
Yeah.
been good. I tell you, learned a lot about it. You guys put out a lot of good points.
Yeah.
People being careful what they say when they talk to
Yeah.
the insurance companies. Matter of fact, don't even talk to them, right after the accident.
Right.
Talk to the police, and the people is going to get you a report and get in touch
And
with somebody that
with
can
the
really.
lawyer.
So yeah, you guys brought up a lot of great
Mhm.
points. It's so important because some things could show up, after the fact. It may not even
Right.
be the day of the incident or
Yeah.
the And
Yeah.
so let's get some wrap up comments because
Yeah.
as Dr. Dan say, we are at that time.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of wrap it up and we'll,
Well, we should do a second part to this because
Oh yes, definitely,
you know,
definitely. Yes, that
unlike attorneys, okay, she's not attorney. She just
I'm
talks
not a
from
doctor
experience.
or an attorney.
Yeah, she just talks from experience.
I'm
experience,
nothing
hey, life
between.
yes,
experience,
life
life
experience. That's
Yeah,
experience.
it.
and she can relate to people. But attorneys are bound by laws. They can't really tell you certain things because they have a license. She can tell you like it is. And
And
I
just
she
know,
just
will.
help.
and I
So
know, the lawyer that say, "Call me now." I guess
yeah, yeah.
he mean it.
Yeah.
Call me now.
Okay.
The people in our community in Florida, in St. Pete, where the office is, okay, they will call her with questions because she just knows stuff, and they will call her for advice, even though they may not be our patient. They will still call her for the advice. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Lot of
Yeah.
experience.
She
Lot of
just knows a
experience.
lot.
That's
But
good.
yeah, we'll wrap it up for today, but we'll do a little bit more in the future and
Yeah.
Yeah.
just give people like the real world information so they are not confused about if something bad happens, what they can and cannot do.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
sometimes in life you gotta make right choices, and you only
Most
make the right choice if you have the right information.
Absolutely.
And that's all there is.
Absolutely
This is just information and
correct.
helping people.
Absolutely correct.
so Dr. Dan, give us some information on your Power Wellness program and some contact information and we'll wrap it up.
So power wellness is a little different than personal injury. That's just wellness care to make sure you stay well. And we've been doing that for years, and it's still the same price. Power wellness, we do $79. You get 4 treatments for 79. So that's just under $20 a visit. We haven't raised prices or anything like that. So we're still good. Anyway, they can see us in Aiken. They can go to aikenchiropractic.com or they can schedule an appointment on the website. But they can call us. Better to call us 803 641 9191. Just call us, and if you need an appointment, let us know, and we'll be happy to do it for you.
Yes, we will.
All
Awesome.
right.
That's
Well,
Aiken
guys,
Chiropractic. Good to see you again, Maraja. I hope you and your husband got settled in here in
Just
Aiken.
about, just
Okay.
that's
about, just
great.
about. Yep.
That's great.
Toughing out the cold, coming from Florida. It's
I
been good.
know. Well, I think we got some more coming
I
next week.
know.
They
I'm
say
Yeah.
excited.
so.
Oh, I'm so sick. I'm
Yes,
excited.
yes, you used to it. It's like I've been climatized. When I was in Germany, it was good, but now
Yeah.
that I'm back in Georgia, I'm like, oh, I'm
It-
cold.
It's a different cold.
Yeah,
It's a different cold, and my blood is so thin these days. Okay.
yes.
All right. Well, you guys enjoy.
And we
Awesome.
Have
will
a great
see you
week.
guys next time. All right. All right. Be
Absolutely.
blessed. All right. Bye bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
All right, Dr. Dan and Maraja, Glenn, I always have a good
Mariah,
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 Glenn.
Mariah.
I always have a great conversation with them. I always
Yes,
look
yes. The
forward
J
to.
is silent. It's Mariah.
Okay,
Yes.
whatever Jackie said.
No, that's what she. Remember, she
No,
said
I'm not trying to pronounce
no,
it again.
no.
Well,
But yeah, that was a great conversation. So many people,
chiropractic
they
care,
don't
always.
know, and and it's a sad situation that you have to deal with that
Yeah,
because
that's just it.
and just like with some people in California, a
Mhm.
lot of insurance is not renewing their
Most
policies, or
definitely.
so that's not good.
Not
And these
good at all.
people take years and years and pay them, and
Spend a lot of money
it's
on
literally
insurance.
it's not your money.
I
And
mean, just like us, when we had this hurricane here, we hadn't made a claim in 20, 30 years, and we've had that same insurance company. So, that's a lot of investment there of money,
absolutely, just do your
into
job and
a
do what you're
company. Yeah.
supposed to do
So,
and do what's right.
yeah, when it comes
That's
time to
all.
make
But
claims and get settlements, you don't want to hear about, nothing
no,
negative.
exactly. I just want to know that
We
all that
can't do
I've been
this or we
giving you
can't
for
do
30
that.
years.
That's what I'm
I'm
talking
getting
about.
back. I didn't bring on Mother Nature. I didn't
That's
ask,
it.
so but that's what I paid for, and I want to get paid for my service. I
Most
prepaid
definitely.
for the what ifs. I got
Yeah.
I paid for the what ifs.
That's the purpose of it.
Absolutely. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
okay, well, we're
So we're
glad you
wrapping it
guys
up,
tuned in.
guys.
Hope you got something from this conversation about
Right.
chiropractic care, especially after an accident, talking with Dr. Dan and his guests.
Yes.
So we just want to thank you, for listening to Help Matters on this morning. We want you to like our Facebook channel, Facebook page, not Facebook channel, Facebook page at Get Fit with Jackie Fitness, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Help Matters Jackie and Coach.
Okay, guys, remember we're here to help you to become a better you, to be the best you that you can be. We always like to leave you with 3 John 2. I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. Guys, you have a healthy and a blessed Saturday. Be careful out there, out of in the rain. Just be careful and be safe and stay warm, guys. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Health is life. Your health matters. You matter. Health begins in the spirit and the mind. Take time to love you. Live well. Be well.
Yeah, let's go.
Health matters to me.
Come on, get up, cause you tuned into the station for your morning motivation to get your education for your health and your spiritual needs.
Health matters to me.
Yeah, strong will to empower the people, to promote the peace, though. Positive attitudes, baby, that's a lifelong dream goals.
Health matters to me.
Yeah, health matters and we're here to help you become the better you, to be the best version you can be.
Health matters to me.
Yeah, and it's time for this classic, fantastic food for your soul. Here's Jackie and Coach Patrick right here. Let's go.
Health matters to me.